All right, hello students. Today we're moving on with lesson six. As you guys forgot to cut and paste it over, but lesson six, the order of operation. So today we're going to kind of go through those steps and talk about order of operations. Here we go. It says, example one, expressions with only addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So kind of the four basic operations. The first question is, what operations are evaluated first? Well, if you just have these four, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, the first thing we evaluate, or the first operations we take care of, is multiplication and division. Now, both of these are evaluated first, um, but since there's two of them, there's one additional step. There's one additional thing we have to do. Well, if both of these are kind of in the equation, which one goes first? Well, here comes the second step, or the second part of kind of this first step. They must be evaluated from left to right. You can't just do them however you want. This is very important, and most people forget this part. Whenever you have multiplication and division, they must be evaluated from left to right. You can't just always do multiplication or always division. It must go left to right. We'll go over an example of that. Well, if this is done first, this is what operations are always evaluated last. Well, kind of like a multiplication and division, we have two of them. We have addition. We have the other two, of course, which is addition and subtraction are evaluated. And these are always going to be evaluated last unless there's a certain criteria that's met. And we'll talk about that later. But these are always evaluated last. Um, are evaluated last, excuse me. And this has the same thing. There's two of them here. Well, what there's both? Which one goes first? Well, the same thing is true as kind of for multiplication and division. They must go from left to right. If you don't follow, and like I said, this is kind of the biggest problem with order of operations. People forget these two very important things. It must go from left to right, not just however you want. All right, so let's go over a couple of examples here, or three examples kind of dealing with that. And this is exercises 1 to 3. And here we're going to show um, our steps. Now, you'll be asked sometimes to show your steps on how you solved it, and that's kind of what I'm going to show you here. So some of this can be mentally done, and of course that does make it a little bit easier. But on this kind of video, I'm going to show you how to show your steps. All right, so if we look at number one, it says 4 plus 2 times 7. Well, remember, which one comes first, addition or multiplication? So we come back here, multiplication, division are evaluated first. So we have to take care of this part. And here's kind of how we start showing steps. We have to take care of this. 2 times 7, and this is 14. So that has to be evaluated first. Well, I haven't touched the 4 plus 2. Or the 4 plus, I've taken care of the 2. Remember, I evaluated all the way up to here. That means everything else just comes straight down. 4 plus. I didn't touch it, so it comes down. And now I just simply evaluate this, or I simply do the addition. 4 plus 14 is 18. So this whole section right here, is showing our steps, is showing our work. Okay, notice I didn't just put equals 18. I went and I evaluated the multiplication first because multiplication comes before addition, and then I did the addition, and here's my answer of 18. All right, so let's go and do another one. Number 2 says 36 divided by 3 times 4. Well, the question is, what do I do first? Do I divide or do I multiply? Well, let's go back. Multiplication and division are evaluated first. Well, I have both of them. Well, here comes the second rule. We must go left to right. So left to right means as I read this, it's like you're reading a book, left to right, what do I say first? I say 36 divided by 3. Well, that has to come first. So once again, going to show our steps. So this is what I'm doing first. I like to box them in to kind of show what's going on, and because it cuts it off. 36 divided by 3, hopefully, is 12. Okay, if you don't know that, you can always do the work over here on the side. Nothing wrong with doing the work. But now remember, the reason why I kind of cut this off here or box this in, because everything else, all this must come straight down. I haven't touched the multiplication, and I haven't touched the 4. Okay, I didn't do any multiplication, and I didn't multiply by 4. So now the last step, here we go. I do the multiplication, that gives me 48. And if you kind of think about this, without I'm not going to do the work, if we think about it, if we multiplied first, so I went 3 times 4, that's 12. Well, 36 divided by 12 is 3. As you can see, that's a completely different number than 48. So that's why order really matters. All right, and let's go ahead and do our last one we have here. We have 3 as 20 minus 5 times 2. So, of course, which one comes first? The subtraction, the multiplication. And hopefully you got or said multiplication. We have to multiply these two numbers first. Okay, we kind of forget about the subtraction of the 20. We just simply do the multiplication, and of course that is 10. And once again, I haven't touched the 20 or the subtraction, so I need to just simply bring it straight down or rewrite it. And now I do the last evaluation of the subtraction, and of course that answer is 10. So there you go. All right, so once again, all of this that I'm kind of highlighting or grouping in red, this is our steps that we needed to show. So if you're ever asked to show steps, in which you will be asked to show steps, this is what I expect to see. Okay, let's go and just simply write that in there. Just so if you forget, you get home and you forget what I mean by steps, and this is kind of help you see what I expect to see. All right, so go and stop the video and go move on to the next one. We're going to add another component to the order of operation. All right, hello students. So in the first video, we talked about the kind of just the 4 basic operations. Well, now as we move on to example 2, we're going to express expressions with 4 operations and exponents. Now we're going to add another part to this. And kind of as we add new parts to it, they actually become higher and higher on the operation level. I mean, they become first. So if we look at this, so we have our expression, is 4 plus 9 squared, or 9 to the second power, divided by 3 times 2 minus 2. Now we have this exponent sitting here. Well, where does that come in order of operation? Well, what operation do we evaluate first? And here we go. This is where we're going to evaluate the exponent first. So the exponent comes before multiplication or division. So if we go ahead and kind of look at, I'm going to kind of do the work on the side and then evaluate it kind of over here with the steps like we did before. So the exponent comes first, the 9 to the second power, which of course is 9 times 9, and 9 times 9 is 81. So, like I said before, to show my steps, I box it in. This is my 81. Okay, we're going to kind of evaluate this as we kind of talk about the steps that needs to be taken. I didn't touch this, or I didn't touch this side. So all of this just simply needs to be rewritten. Just simply bring it down, write it over again. So the division I didn't do. I haven't divided yet by 3. I haven't multiplied by 2. And I have not subtracted by 2. So all that just simply gets rewritten. Once again, this is showing our steps. Well, now kind of with our new expression, so we kind of forget about this top expression. Now we have 4 plus 81 divided by 3 times 2 minus 2. Well, now what operation is next? Well, if we remember, we have a few operations. We have multiplication and, division. Well, we have division here. We have 81 divided by 3 and then times 2. Well, which one comes first? Well, remember, we must go left to right. Oh, which one comes first? Well, the 81 divided by 3. So let's go ahead and kind of talk about that, or we'll go ahead and kind of underline the next part. Actually, just pull out red. 81 divided by 3. So the first thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and kind of write it down here. 81 divided by 3. And of course, that would equal, if we kind of do the division really quick, that would give me 27. So underneath this red would be 27. And before we do anything else, before we do the multiplication, we want to rewrite everything. Once again, this is showing our steps. Okay, because I did the division. Now I'm rewriting. I haven't used the multiplication yet of 2. And I haven't subtracted 2. So there you go. So once again, This is the second step or next step of division because it went left to right. And now I have the next step. Let's go ahead and pull out the green here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to multiply. So now I have 27. And this is times 2. So once again, if you don't know, like you didn't know the division, you don't know the multiplication, you can always do the work on the side. I'm just trying to kind of speed this along a little bit. And I go 2 times 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so the answer is 54. So that would be 54. All right, so once again, I did the multiplication. I went multiplication, division from left to right, division first, multiplication second. I'm done with all of those. I still haven't touched the addition or the 4, so let's go ahead and bring it down. I still haven't touched the subtraction of the 2, so let's go ahead and bring it down. So that's why I box it in, so I see kind of what I have done and what I haven't done. That way I can bring it down appropriately. Next, it says, what operations are always last? Well, here we go again. We have addition, oops, and subtraction. And once again, these are also from left to right. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of do those operations. Let's go and pull our blue pin back. Blue pin back, excuse me. So I have addition, I have subtraction, and once again, I have to go left to right. So first thing I want to do is do the addition. We're just simply going to kind of do it up here. And this is 58. And once again, I'm going to bring this down. I have subtraction of 2 I still haven't used. And then the final answer, of course, is just simply do the subtraction. The answer would be 56. All right, so that's kind of the last part. What is the final answer? The final answer is 56. So there you go. So once again, showing our steps, showing what we did, kind of doing some of the work on the side. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to do this. It's just kind of showing you kind of what's going on or what I was doing. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of move to a couple more. What I actually want you to do is I want you to pause the video. I want you to try these problems on your own. Come on back and we'll evaluate them together. All right, so go and pause the video and come on back when you've tried them. All right, hopefully you gave them a try, and welcome back, students. So let's go ahead and do these together. Well, number 4, the first thing I would want to do is take care of this exponent. Remember, 5 to the second power, hopefully remember this. I'm just going to do this really quick on the side. Is 5 times 5. Remember, an expanded form or series of multiplication is 5 times 5, of course, which equals 25. I'm not going to do all these on the side. I just kind of want to remind you that this is 25. All right, so what I haven't touched yet is I haven't touched the 90 minus. I haven't touched the times 3 yet. So let's go ahead and rewrite those. Oops. Next, let's go ahead and do the next operation. Well, we have subtraction, we have multiplication. Hopefully remember that multiplication comes next. And 25 times 3 is 75. All right, I haven't touched this section yet, so let's go ahead and just simply copy that down, 90 minus. And you do the subtraction, and hopefully you get 15. So 15 would be our final answer or evaluation, or our value, excuse me. All right, so let's go and do the next one. So hopefully you did the multiplication here. Remember, that's 4 times 4 times 4. Well, 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is hopefully 64. So like I said, you could have kind of done that mentally if you can do that. If not, please do it on the side. So I didn't touch any of this on the right. So let's go ahead and just rewrite. Well, next, I have addition, I have multiplication. So we need to take care of the multiplication. Notice the one I used is not being used this time. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people kind of worry about that. And so I haven't touched the 64, the plus on that step. So I go ahead and I rewrite it. And now I go ahead and I do the addition. So you could do the kind of final step underneath, or you can do it on the side, perfectly fine. And of course, 6 plus 4 is 10, carry the 1. 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 1 is 8. So of course, the final answer here is 80. All right, so hopefully you evaluated those appropriately. You got 15 and 80. All right, so we have one more video to kind of finish this up. We're going to talk about evaluations using parentheses. So go and stop the video and go move on to the last one. All right, hello students. As we move on to exercises 6 and 7, we kind of run into our last kind of piece here. We have these things called parentheses. And the parentheses are actually at the very, very top of our order of operation. Those are the kind of things that come first. So before we kind of get started with this, I kind of just want to break down kind of what we have gone over, or our order of operation. So you kind of have a sequence of events that you know that you kind of need to follow when dealing with order of operation. So the first thing we always want to take care of is we want to take care of parentheses. This is kind of always our first step. So if we look at this one, everything inside these parentheses has to come first. It doesn't matter really what's inside of here or outside, but we want to take care of everything inside. It's almost like it's a problem by itself. Once we've taken care of everything inside the parentheses, or as we go through the parentheses, the next thing we want to do is take care of the exponents. That's kind of step number 2. As we continue going through order of operation, step number 3, remember multiplication, we kind of get to our 4 basic operations. Multiplication and division comes next. Oops, let's just go ahead and fix that real quick. Multiplication and division come next. And remember, these have to go left to right. And then our very last part of order of operation is our addition and subtraction. All right, so I just wanted to kind of take a moment and kind of write these down so you kind of have a sequence of events that you know you need to take care of. So the first one is parentheses. So everything inside here we must take care of first. Well, how do we take care of these? That's what 2 through 4 give us. So exponents would come first, and then subtraction, and then we'd add the outside to it. All right, so you have that to kind of as a reference. This is something that we need to memorize or at least have access to. All right, so let's go through a few problems together. So first of all, we have these parentheses here, so we have to take care of everything inside the parentheses first. So I have this 9 squared, so of course we have to take care of that first. So that'd be 81, because 9 times 9 is 81, minus 4. Well, we haven't taken care of everything inside the parentheses, so we have to bring them down. And this is where some people make the mistakes because they forget to bring down the parentheses. We still have the subtraction, and then the plus 2 stays outside of it. Once I take care of everything inside the parentheses, like on our next step, 81 minus 4, hopefully is 77. Well, I've taken care of everything. Now the parentheses can go away. Now we don't need them anymore because we have the plus sign separating the two numbers. And of course, this final step here is to add these together. We get 79. And that's our final step, or our value. All right, so when you're taking care of parentheses, you have to make sure you take care of everything that's actually inside of them before they actually go away. So like down here on this next one, there's a whole bunch of stuff inside this parenthesis. And there's actually even another parenthesis. So, like I was saying, parentheses come first. So everything inside this big parenthesis, we have to look at. I have plus, I have a subtraction, I have divide. Oh, I have another parenthesis. Well, that still comes first. So I have to take care of this 3 plus 4. And of course, 3 plus 4 is 7. If we notice, I took care of everything inside this parenthesis, so this one goes away. But the big one still needs to be there. Okay, and of course, I haven't touched everything inside of it. So let's go ahead and just kind of rewrite it. I'm going to kind of rewrite it kind of backwards because I want to make sure I don't run out of room. I didn't touch the minus, I didn't touch the 5, I didn't touch the plus, and I didn't touch the 13. And of course, I didn't touch remember this dot here means multiplication. I didn't touch the times 2. All right, so let's go ahead and go take care of the next one. Now remember, we have this big parenthesis here still. So I have addition, subtraction, division, and of course division comes first. 14 divided by 7 is 2. I didn't touch the subtraction, the 5, the plus, or the 13. So that would stay there. Notice all these numbers are still in the parentheses, so parentheses have to stay. And then of course times 2. Well, now I have addition and I have subtraction. Well, addition, subtraction goes left to right, so I take care of this. Remember, inside parentheses still, so I have to go, it has to go first. 18 minus 2. And of course, the minus 2 is still inside the parentheses, so that has to come down with it. And then times 2. If you notice, everything outside the parentheses just kind of follows it down until parentheses are all done. And we have one more. So we do the subtraction. 18 minus 2 is 16. And now I have 16 times 2. And 16 times 2 is, I believe, 32. All right, so this is my value or my evaluation. All right, so the last kind of two we're going to talk about, 8 and 9. These two also kind of very similar to each other, except there's one difference. This one, the exponent is inside the parenthesis, and this one, the exponent is outside the parenthesis. So we're going to kind of talk about or kind of show how they should be taken care of. Remember, first we have to take care of everything inside parentheses. I have subtraction, I have exponent. Remember, exponent comes first. So that would be a 9. And then remember, parentheses come down with the 12 minus. And then, of course, plus 7 on the outside. I still have the parentheses, so I need to take care of them. Well, 12 minus 9 is 3. And I bring down the plus 7, and I add these together, and I get 10. Well, this one I said is very similar. The only thing different is this exponent is not on the inside anymore, it's on the outside. Well, this is outside the parenthesis now, so we have to take care of the subtraction first. Notice if it's inside, you have to take care of the exponent. If it's outside, you have to take care of the subtraction. 12 minus 3 is 9. So this 9 is actually going to the power of 2, or to the second power. And I bring down the plus 7, and now I can finish evaluating. I have addition, I have an exponent. Of course, exponent comes first. That's 81. Bring down the addition. I add these two together, and of course, I get 89. So if you notice kind of how they work differently, if the exponent is outside the parenthesis, like the second one, this is outside of it, you have to take care of everything inside first and then square it or go to the second power. If it's inside, you simply do that number itself to the second power. All right, so there's the kind of all the different examples. I also gave you a breakdown of order of operation, how exactly you need to use it. So please use this as you move on to your assignment.